Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. This is Naya Dolgens, and on today's tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to draft a corset, your normal basic pattern, and as well how to customize your own breast cup, how to stitch the piece together to give a perfect fit. Okay, without wasting much of your time, let's get started. So I'm making use of a normal basic bodice pattern. This is not a knot and a brace bodice pattern like the previous video I did. Okay, so first thing first, you want to get your underbust measurement. Mine is 13.5, and then I'm just going to draw multiple lines for it so that I'm able to get a straight line. Now I'm not drawing this all the way because I just need this at this point. Then now on this other center front, you want to know how deep you want your cleavage to show. So for I'm just going up 1 inch, half an inch from my chest line. Okay, then once I get half an inch, and I'm going to go inward like this by half an inch. I just like that place to be a little bit tiny. I don't like it to be bold. Okay, so now to go ahead to get our dart for our corset, now you're going to start your dart after the 1 inch after the already made darts from your basic bodice pattern. You're not starting from the center, but you're going to start the dart from exactly after where the darts for the bodice is starting from. Okay, so now I'm going to curve, placing my pattern master in this way. Okay, your pattern master placement is very important, please. I'm placing my pattern master in this way to get that curve so that it doesn't flatten the breast, the cup, when you get to stitch it together. Okay, so after you've done this, you want to go in with your pattern master as well again to curve out this part, meeting it at that point where you have marked your half inch from the center front. Okay, just make sure that gives you a perfect curve. Okay, so once that is done, I'm going to go in with my marker just to highlight it so that it's going to be more visible. Okay, now that is done, we're going over to this other side. Okay, on this side you don't want the boning to choke you. Yeah, you need comfort all the time. So for that, I'm going to be going down by 1 inch, but for someone that's very busty, you should go down by half an inch. Okay, for someone that is very busty, go down by half an inch. Now we want to divide this place so that we could be able to close in every cleavage that will be showing from this corset, because this is a tube corset and it doesn't have a yoke. I'm not going to be using net on top of it. So now once I've divided my shoulder, what is remaining of my shoulder, into two, and I'm going to go up by half an inch from my breast point to meet that line like so. Okay, now once I've gotten this, you want to now curve out the shape of the upper part of your corset. But first thing first, you want to go up by 1.5 inches. This is just a preference. My customer does not want much cleavage showing, so I'm going up by 1.5 inches upwards. Then I'm going to be going on sideways of that line, half inch, and I'm connecting it down to that point where my breast point, or where we started that line that we connected to the shoulder. Now I'm going also with my pattern master to curve out the shape of my corset. Okay, now I just zoomed it in so that you're able to see what I'm doing. Okay, I went in by 1.5 inches. I think that was 2 inches. I went in by 2 inches, but I was just trying to make sure that both of them are equal. That was 2 inches. Now using my pattern master to curve out the shape, this pattern master just helps everything. Okay, you see how fine our corset shape is coming out. So if you don't have a pattern master, please do have a pattern. Go get one for yourself. Now for this part, you want to use your shoulder line as a means to guide you when drawing this part of your cup. Okay, like you see me did, I use that as a reference point because that is like half of your body measurement, or half where the bust is going to be stopping. Okay, so now I'm just highlighting everything with my marker. Okay, now on this center front, you want to suck in every excess from a corset. Corset is just you removing every excess from the fabric so that there's no excess showing out. Everything is just slim fit on your body. So I'm going inward from my waistline by half an inch, and I'm just covering it out like so. So I'm just going to go in on this side, my pattern, my marker, just to highlight everything. Now on your waistline, just to give it a fine shape, you want to go outward by 1.5 inches. Okay, so I came down from here by 2 inches, but before doing this, I was supposed to get my corset length. So that is what I'm doing here. It just, I'm checking my corset length to be 23 inches. So I'm going to rule that across to get a straight line before doing this. Now, if peradventure this does not rhyme up to the 2 inches you want, from your length or the length of your corset, you want to go up by 1.5 inches or 2 inches, okay, to get this. Now once you've gotten that, you're not going outward by 1 inch, just to give it this curve. Someone asked me previously what's this outward I'm going, just to give it a hourglass shape. That is just the purpose, to give it an hourglass shape, just like a conical shape around your waistline, from your waistline giving it a shape to your hip line. Okay, so that's what that point, or that going out by 1.5 inches, that is what it means, right? So now once you've done that, you want to curve out your down part of your corset. So on this part, I'm just trying to join my darts together. I don't want that down part to be penciled, so I'm just straightening it out and I'm shading out all the darts. This part are not needed. I just like shading it out. Now on this part, I'm going to go out again by 1/2 inch. Why? Because I want to lock up this corset, so that if my customer wears this and she bends, her boobs will not be coming out from the dress. So this is just a way to tighten the chest area of this corset. Okay, that is the reason why I went in again by 1/2 inch. And also that will also make the corset to have more deepness and more curviness inside it. Okay, so that being said, we're going over to the back panel. So for the back panel, you want to make sure that the lengths are equal. So whatever line you use for the front, you're going to be connecting it to the back panel of your corset. Okay, so this is the back part. I've ruined the upper part and the down part to me, so now I already know the size. So you can see on the waistline on this part, I'm going out again by 1.5 inches, and I'm curving it just the way I curve the center front. That's just the way I curve the front panel of it. And you want to curve at these edges. You don't want to leave any edges, you don't want to leave any sharp edges. Okay, so now that we've gotten that, I'm now going to curve out how I want the back panel of my corset to look like. So this part, I didn't really go with the length of my front. I just went in with how I want the back to look like. So now another important thing you want to do, because I'm going to be using a zip for this, on your waistline you want to go in by 1/2 inch, and once you go in by 1/2 inch, you want to connect that 1/2 inch to your zip line in front. It's just like you creating another zip line from the normal zip line you have from your basic bodice pattern. It's just like taking out the excess, because the woman back is not exactly straight, it's like bent inward. Okay, it's bent inward, and then it's bent inward. You don't want to have a straight zipper allowance, you want to curve it inward as well to remove every excesses from it. Okay, sorry that part is not showing, but you can see from here that I did a different and a total zip allowance. Okay, this is all it is for our pattern, drafting out this corset pattern. This is my point. I'm just labeling this out, so it's going to be easy for me to join the piece together. Okay, so this is my back 1 and back 2. I'm using a zip for this outfit, for this corset. I'm using a zip for it, so this is what it's looking like already. So now going further, I've actually cut out my piece, adding 1/2 inch allowance all the way. It's just only on the side seam that I added 1.5 inches, and each piece is 2 pieces plus my lining, 2 pieces for the main fabric, 2 pieces for the lining. Okay, 2 pieces for the main fabric, 2 pieces for the lining. It's just only on the side seam that I added 1.5 inches, but all over I did 1/2 inch sewing allowance for it. Okay, so now this, I'm just placing my pattern paper. That is why it's very important to draft. So now that I've drafted, I'm going to be using this. You can see this is how this is looking like. It's curved this way. My hands is just showing how it's curved. So in that way, if you know this, you could be able to join your pattern together. The cup is curved in an over, right? I think that's what it's called. It's curved. Just try to master or get how your corset is curved, the cup is curved. Then with that, you'll be able to know which side is left and which side is right, and which side is at the center front and which side is at the side front. Okay, so now joining this together, making note of how my cup is curved, I'm going to be joining them together. This is my center front. This two is going to be on this part. Doing the same thing as well for my lining. Now for this part, we already labeled it, so we're going to be joining these two parts together. So I'm just pinning everything so you know what it is. I'm joining the center front. I'm joining the front panel first. Okay, I'll be joining the front panel first before I join the back panel of this pattern. So I'm joining this part together. I'm using my pin to pin it together. Then I'm going to go over to this side as well, and then I'm going to pin it together. So once I've pinned it together, remember this pattern, the center front is splitted. So then I'm going to be joining the center front together. And you know the reason why we splitted the center front, it's not on fold, because we want to suck out heavy excess at the center front of this dress. So now this is what it's going to look like when I join them together. Okay, now this is what the center pattern is going to look like. I'll do the same for the lining. Now for the back panel, it's just two pieces, so you know you just have to join these two sides together. We are joining these two sides together, so I pin them together and then pin this down part together. So this is what it is. Then I'm going to do the same thing as well for this other side. Okay, it was a bit confusing here, so I had to go back to my pattern paper just to know if I'm on the right shape, and yes, I was. So I'm going to be joining these two sides together using my pin to pin them together. I'll be doing the same thing as well for the lining. So now this is what it's going to look like. Then the center point is where our zip is going to be. Okay, so now after this being done, this is our front panel that I'm just trying to show you what it's going to look like when I join them together. Okay, so now moving over to customizing our own breast cup. Okay, we want to customize our own breast cup. Now I'm using this laminated breast foam that it usually comes in black or ash color. So for this one, I'm thinking this is ash color. This is the ash color one, but it's a bit thick. It's not the very light one. It has to be something that is up. And now you want to cut it to be the exact measurement, or you want to cut it to be exactly your pattern. You're not adding any sewing allowance to it at all. Okay, and it's going to be in 4 pieces. Like for pattern, for number 1, you have just 2 pieces of it. Then the other one, you're going to have 2 pieces for it as well. So you'll be using your zigzag stitch to join this together, but don't worry, in case you don't have a sewing machine that has a zigzag stitch, I have a remedy for you. Okay, so if you don't have a zigzag sewing machine, now you can use your normal. Now you just want to place it this way that I'm just putting, just very bits. Just place it on top each other, just little. You don't need to put too much to it, because remember, we didn't add any sewing allowance to this. We just cut this pattern the exact measurement on of our pattern, so you don't want to take in too much now. But you need to be very careful at this point, this down part of it, so that it doesn't twist or it doesn't bend over or something. Just be very careful when you're stitching that part. So now this is what it's looking like, and this is what the one with our zigzag stitch is looking like. So now let's go further. Okay, now because this is customized and I like being extra, so I'm going to go in with my boning to just do a little caging on this. I'm not doing a total caging on this breast cup. I don't really like putting too much bone into it, but it's not like caging is bad. Caging is good. So now I'm just cutting this into 3 pieces. Like you just see me use my pen to mark that place out. And another reason why I usually, if I'm caging or if if I'm customizing my cup, I like using this boning on it just because I want it to last long, and then so the thread doesn't run out and all. So now I'm going to cut this boning, not exactly to stop at the end of this breast cup. It's going to stop a bit so that we'll have sewing allowance when I want to attach it to it. Don't worry, you get what I'm trying to say. So now once I've done this part, you can see what it's looking like inside. Then I'm going to cut out every thread out. Then I'm going to do another one to pass through this place. So now I'm using also my boning. Now I'm using a ridge line boning, this sewable boning for this. If you don't have this, you could just use your bias to stitch on it, then pass your plastic boning to it, but I've not done that before, so I cannot really tell you the result of that. Okay, so now I'm just stitching this out, and I'm cutting it a bit out from there. I'm using my masking tape to close or to tape that mouth out, so just to blunt the edges out so it doesn't cause injury on the long run and all that. Okay, so this is what the two cups are looking like. Okay, customized and fit to go. So now I've joined this part together, and then I have actually ironed it. I've ironed it. So now you just have to look for which one is for which one, and remember, this is exactly our pattern, so it's going to be ½ inch smaller than your fabric. Yes, it's ½ inch smaller than it. And now you want to know how I'm going to infuse this together. So I'm going to be going in with my hemming gum. Yeah, for the lining, I'm attaching this to the lining with my hemming gum. Okay, I'm attaching this with my lining with my hemming gum, just so that it has this cup-like effect from the inside of your dress, not just the outside looking all cuppy, but inside of it is looking all good. I don't know the term, but looking all good. So I'm going to go in with multiple hemming gum, then I'm going to place this on it. Make sure you're putting the center front of the cup to the actual lining, like it matches, not the other way around. Okay, so now after that, you've already stitched your lining, you've added your boning. As much boning you want to add to your fabric, you add it. Okay, so this is what is looking like, and I'm not joining them all together because I want to do the old-fashioned way of sewing. It's not an inseam sewing, so I'm going to do the front separate, I'm going to do the back separate. So now I've done the cups, and I'm just trying to make sure that I'm putting the right side on each where it's supposed to be. This side is going to be on the center front, and this side is going to be on the side front. Then this is how I attach my cup to it. I start from the center of it, right? I start from the center of it and I pin it down. Then I start from the center of this. Then I'm going to sew from the center to the upside, then come back again from the center to the other side. Start from here. I'm going to sew it upward, then I come back again and sew it upward. It's not like you're starting from one place all the way. No, you have to start from the center, so that the center of your cup is going to rhyme the center of the bodice itself. So now after hemming this out, I had to use pin to pin it together so that it doesn't move when I'm ironing it together. I'm taking this off, and now I have to attach this to my lining. Okay, now look at what it's looking like. I'm going to pin this like so. Pin this like so. Pin this way. Then sew from this center point to the upper part. Then from this other part to the other part. Just going to do the same. Yeah. Then sew it all the way to the up. Like this. Then I'm going to do the same thing again then I'm going to sew back to this other side as well. Okay, then I'm going to attach this other one just the way we did for this. We are pinning it this way, and then we are going to sew all the way from here down to this up part. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So this way, and then our cup is ready. So now moving ahead over to this other part, you're going to be stitching this up part, the zip part, then the down part, while leaving the side seam out of the way. Then we'll just sew there. We're doing the same thing, sew the down part. Okay, we'll do the same thing for the both places. So now this is what our lining is looking like. Can you see? Looking all cup and all good. It's looking all good. So now we just want to join the main fabric to our lining, and in doing so we're going to be placing right side against right side. Okay, you'll be placing right side against right side. Then you want to stitch from the center. Okay, you want to stitch from the center. I'm just zooming this in so you get to see what I'm talking about. You're sewing from the center. This is very important. From the center down to this side. Okay, then you sew from the center again down to this side. Then once you do that, you're going to flip it over, then top stitch on it. That is after making notches at that edge. Then you flip it over, then you top stitch. Then you bring it back, then you sew the hemline of this corset. Okay, you sew the down part of this corset. Okay, once you've done that, this is what it's looking like after that has been done. Our cup and everything looking intact, looking gorgeously intact, whatever. Okay, now this is something I do. Let me just share. Okay, just to make sure that my underboss for my lining and my underboss for my main fabric doesn't move is the same, I tend to tack at this point a little. Sometimes I use my hand needle to just stitch that, just give it 2 stitch so that it doesn't shift. It have the same underboss for the lining and for the main fabric as well. It doesn't move. Okay, so that is what I do for that. Now our cloth is already done. I know you have learned 1 or 2 things. If you've been up to this extent, thank you very much. Please do not forget to like, share, and if you're new, please subscribe to the channel as well. There's a lot of goodies coming up from now henceforth, and I do not want any of you to miss it out. Okay, so now this is what our back panel is looking like already, and I'm going to place the front on top of it. Then placing the front on top of it, I'm going to be joining it with our sewing allowance we kept, which was 1.5 inch sewing allowance for the side seam. I'm going to do the same thing over here, then cut out the many excess of my zip. Then our corset is ready. It actually gave my customer a very perfect fit, and thank you guys for watching up to this extent. This is what is looking all gorgeous and all clean. So this is what I meant by adding that 2 inches at it, or that 2 stitch. Okay, so thank you guys. Please do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and remain super blessed until my next video. Bye.